الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله الحمد لله الذي أنزل الفرقان على عبده ليكون للعالمين نذيرا والصلاة والسلام على خير الخلق ونور عرش أفضل الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيبنا وسيدنا وسندنا وشفيعنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتاب المجيد وقوله الحق وهو أصدق الصادقين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. من المؤمنين رجال صدقوا ما عاهدوا الله عليه فمنهم من قضى نحبه ومنهم من ينتظر وما بدلوا تبديلا. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات على محمد
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
All praise belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're grateful to for His mercy in creating us. And I want to thank all of you for your presence today, for the loss of a father. And this is something I dreaded all my life. And in public, I spoke many times while he was alive. And when he was in the audience, and I spoke about losing my parents, and I saw him in the audience, and I said, there will be a day I will have to meet this fact. Either I will leave or you will leave. But let me, without being too emotional about this issue, it is my father and my mother. If there's any good in me, it's because of them. And I know we all say that, but I am a testament to this fact. You know, when my parents came to America in 1972, I was quite young, and they consulted the Quran to leave Tanzania to come to America. And the ayah that came was that when you travel, do not let go of your iman. The general gist of the verses of the Quran that basically stated that travel, siru fil ard, but do not abandon your faith. So when my parents arrived, my father had no money. He literally had only $200 in his pocket, and he arrived in New York. And they worked, and they had no money. They used to walk. They used to take the train. They couldn't afford the train. They would walk. At that time, the train was 25 cents. And my father established the first Muslim community in New York. And he recited Dua Kumail and Hadith Kisa in a house. And our Muslim brothers who were lost put their feet straight and laughing at my father, saying, what are you doing? What are you reciting? He said, don't worry, you will understand this. And he established the community in New York. He was actually the one who signed and created that organization. And then he even created the sports facilities for our youth. And I'm a young teenager growing up looking at my father, basically instilling in me that establish, إِذَا فَرَقْتَ فَانْصَبْ. When you have that moment, establish, put it together, for Allah has sent me here to do that. This was 51 years ago when my father came to the United States. And he has been behind all the projects that I've been involved in. He has been the main financier. He has thrown all his money. Every time he would sell a house and make money, he would put it right in front and take 90% of it. And I'd say, Papa, this is your profit you've made. He said, no, it needs to be spent for Allah. And he didn't care. Until his deathbed, I asked my father, have you wondered how much money is owed to you? He said, I don't care. He said, if it is being spent for Allah, let it go, I don't care. But I'll tell you, I remember him sitting on the desk and he had an envelope with money in it. And I said to him, what is this? He said, this is my account, that every penny I have collected for Allah, I make sure that I add extra money so that I don't take $1 out of it for myself. And he looked at me and said, you're my only son. He says, don't ever cheat. Take one penny from Allah, otherwise I will not be pleased with you as a father. And I looked at him and I said, SubhanAllah. Yes, Allah says, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَنْ لَا تَعْبُدُ إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Allah has decreed that you do not worship anyone other than Allah, and goodness to your parents. But not everybody has good parents. I've seen it. Not every parent is good. Although parents have a certain right, even if they're not good. And I tell our youth, even if your parents are not good, they still have a right over you forever. And I say, SubhanAllah, my Lord, you have blessed me so much. You brought me to America. You educated me. And I have such parents who are the foundation of my moral systems. And you know, the greatest gift is when I would lecture, my parents would always come with me. People say, you know, you're being invited around the world. I said, I have one condition. Any place in the world I travel long distance, my parents must come with me. I will pay for their trip, but they're always with me. Because it's a testament that the only reason I'm on this podium is because of them. And the greatest honor for me, as my respected Shaykh Ilahi eloquently mentioned, you know, his blessed son right here, Muhammad Hussein, such a beautiful, all his children, Mahdi, Muhammad, all of them. Yeah, it's the greatest moment when your child is speaking and you're in the audience looking at him. And I look at my father and I said, Ya Allah, bear witness that this thawab of whatever I'm doing, da'wah, when Allah says, Ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmah wal maw'idatil hasana, I said, Ya Allah, give it back to them. So I'm going to end with this. I remember when I was a teenager, ready to go to the university, I realized I'm very blessed and I need to pay back. And I decided to do something and I promised Allah, but my greatest promise was that I love my parents so much. I said, I want to reward them. As a son, I want to reward them. How can I reward my parents? So something in my mind said, make a lot of money, become rich and famous, take care of them, pamper them, you know, buy fancy cars for them. But I looked at my parents and I noticed the opposite in them. They were giving their wealth away. They had no desire for the wealth. So I knew if I bought them anything, they would never be happy. My father would never be happy if I bought him jewelry or expensive clothes. He would look at it, what is this? I said, Baba, I just bought you this really nice, expensive. He said, why did you spend this money? I don't need it. He was like that. So I made a promise to Allah. This is why I started this ayah. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, min al-mu'minina rijalun sadaqu. I made a promise to Allah as a teenager. I said, Allah, because of my good parents, I promise you I will be your servant. And on Judgment Day, even if you throw me in hell, I don't care. Just, I want to be a witness for my parents that I'm going to do everything. And every banner I will build, every foundation I will build, Allah give it to them because they are the only reason I am good towards you. They are the only reason I worship you. So you have sent me my closest proximity of rahmah. And I remember I used to go to my father, I would caress his face and he would look at me and say, why are you caressing? I wouldn't say nothing. I said, Papa, you're the closest being to Allah, to me. And when I want to touch, quote unquote, the rahmah of Allah, I must touch you. Same with my mother. And I know all of us love our parents. My father's body lies here. And I told him one day, Baba, I'll have to see this. But while he was in his hospital deathbed, I held his hand, he looked at me, he kissed my hand. I said, why are you kissing it? He said, I'm so happy to have you as a son. I said, no, I'm not a good son. I wish I was a good son. I'm not a good son. You deserve much better. But then I said to him, Papa, if you could only know what awaits you in the next world, people will kill to be in your shoes. And I'm so blessed to have it. So as my father's leaving, and I'm watching his organs die, and I'm seeing the blood pressure dropping, the heart rate dropping. I'm looking at him. I said, Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. If there is a sentence from God that is the best news ever given to the creations of Allah, it is Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. أولئك عليهم صلوات من ربهم وأولئك هم المهتدون. May Allah forgive us all, forgive me. May Allah bless all of you. And I say this sincerely in our community. My father never fought with anybody, never backbit anybody, never had hatred for anybody. He would walk and he would just look at everybody and say, no, everybody's good. Even if they don't like you, my father used to tell me, just be nice to them. Even if they're jealous of you, be nice to them. And I would thank Allah every day. I said, I'm so blessed to have them as my parents. He has gone to a better place. And I said to my father, I said, I know you. As he's dying, I said, I know you don't know where you're going, but I will be your witness. But please, you be my witness on Judgment Day. For I know Father will not know the Son, nor the Son will know the Father. But Allah says the family will be together in the next world. And I'm very grateful for that. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant all of us good health. You know, my father couldn't swallow. That's what killed him. Could not swallow. Every time he put food, it went into his lungs and he got infections. So I was talking to a pulmonologist. He says, you know, when a baby is born, it instantly knows how to swallow the milk of its mother. He says there are 7 muscles associated in sync to be able to swallow. And there is no science to teach that in any human being. If I said, can I teach my father to swallow? He said, no. It's God-given and God-taken. So I said to all of us, when we swallow, when we breathe, when we smile, thank Allah for what He has given us. One move, one muscle taken away, it's a disaster. May Allah give us tawfiq, inshallah. May this community grow. My father always prayed for this community. He said, grow, establish, put it together, and help the needy. Help the needy. Help the orphans. May Allah give us tawfiq, inshallah. Thank you so much. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. ربنا اغفر لنا ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. سورة المباركة الفاتحة.